Hello, Buff fans. The madness has begun, and this is my bracket. Thanks, Iowa State. I'm Andrew Hobner, and with me is a man whose bracket might be doing a bit better than mine, Brock Anderson. So, Brock, is it doing better?
Unfortunately, Andrew, I had to incinerate mine last night, so that Big 12 got me,
As it did me, too. Well, one team that was not present in anybody's brackets was the University of Colorado. Instead, the Buffs hosted Big South powerhouse Gardner-Webb in the opening round of the most prestigious mid-major tournament in college basketball, the CBI. Wednesday night, the Buffaloes hosted the Gardner-Webb Running Bulldogs in the opening round of the tournament, but perhaps the most notable absence, besides the fans, was Askia Booker. Guard made headlines, but no Booker, no problem. Josh Scott had himself a day. 23 points, 15 rebounds for the sophomore. He's been battling back spasms all year long, but he looks perfectly healthy here. But Gardner-Webb would not go away, hitting nearly 40% on threes in the game. But then, you remember that CU has two bigs on the floor. Watch this. 5 red jerseys, 2 white ones. Even when they can't convert, yeah, they still can. Big-to-big passing, baby. Boris Diaw would be proud.
Absolutely. Picking up later in the first half, XJ finds the Book of Eli open in the corner for 3. Bill Walton's favorite player finished with 11 points. Then Torrey Miller sizes up a long 2, but can't get it to go. And then later on, the persistent Josh Scott follows a Jerron Hopkins miss for the easy lay-in. The Buffs were led by Scott's 23 points and 15 boards to the victory. The Buffs topped the Runnin' Bulldogs by a score of 87-78. Josh Scott had his 7th double-double of the season to lead the Buffs, and Tyrell Johnson led all scorers with 27 points on 10 of 10 shooting from the field.
Well, a win in the CBI is a win nonetheless. After the game, Tad Boyle shifted his focus from the game to the future of his team.
There needs to be improvements made, but hopefully we learned a lot tonight. And this tournament is about an investment in our future, the future of Colorado basketball. And contrary to what maybe some people think or believe, the future's bright. We got some good players in that locker room, and this tournament is an opportunity for them to really learn and grow. And we're going to have to get better defensively, but I thought offensively tonight we really shared the ball. We had 20 assists. We got the ball inside. We rebounded the ball well, which is the strength of this team. So we've got to, build on our strengths, but we got to shore up some of our weaknesses. And
Colorado beat Gardner-Webb in the first round of the CBI Wednesday night, but Askia Booker was not in the house. The senior guard decided to sit out the tournament to rehab his injured hip and give freshman Dom Collier some more playing time. Reaction to his decision was mixed. Some people, like ESPN's Roxy Bernstein, accused Booker of quitting on his team. Others, like Mark Kisla of the Denver Post, have no problem with skipping college basketball's sloppy thirds. Booker will use this time to rehab and prepare for a potential pro career. He's not currently listed in any major mock drafts.
Booker sitting wasn't the only news coming out of Boulder this week. Per team press release, sophomore forward Dustin Thomas will not be returning to the Colorado basketball program next year. While Thomas elected not to speak to the media after practice Wednesday, head coach Tad Boyle shed some light on the situation, saying the biggest reason was probably playing time. I think he wants to play on the perimeter more than we were willing to play him. Boyle went on to say he doesn't leave here with any ill will towards the program, and we certainly have no ill will towards him.
For those of our viewers that know Andrew and I even a little bit, we love to get our own opinion every now and then. But today we have a third voice of opinion.
Tommy Wood, we welcome in from the CU Independent. Tommy, you are the men's basketball beat writer for the CUI. It's good to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
And, the one thing that amazes me is that you've been covering this team all year. So I have to ask, is Dustin Thomas making the right decision not coming back to CU next year?
Yeah, he is. Look, Dustin Thomas has an unbelievable amount of potential, and he still does. But it was never going to work for him at CU. He wants to play on the perimeter. Tad wants him to play in the paint, and there just aren't enough minutes for him at power forward. Wes Gordon is the starter, and if the Buffs want to go small, which they would have to if they want to play Thomas, they're better off with Xavier Johnson or Trayshawn Fletcher at the 4 anyway. So yeah, it's a smart move for himself and for his future.
I agree with you on Dustin, Tommy. The kid has the chance to be something special, but just not really here. The one thing that gets me, though, is Askia Booker not showing up to the game on Wednesday is just a little ridiculous. I mean, the guy is one of the top scorers and has played the second most games in school history. The guy's an all-time great, and when push comes to shove, no matter how you feel about him, he's one of the best.
He is, and there weren't very many fans for him to leave a bad impression on at the Gardner-Webb game, but that's a conversation for another day. The thing is, I've heard the word quitter thrown around a lot when people talk about Askia Booker's decision, and that really bothers me. This dude played the entire second half of this season with a bad hip and an injured calf. He played through the Buffs' Oregon road trip with pneumonia. Now look, he wasn't a unifying locker room presence, he wasn't a great leader, and CU's ball movement and on-court chemistry looks noticeably better with him out of the game. But he's not a quitter. His work ethic, his effort, they were unquestionable. Is it his fault his teammates couldn't match that energy? I don't know. But I do know that the Buffs need to learn how to create shots for each other, because without Booker on the court, there's no one who can create them for himself.
Yeah, the team will certainly miss Booker and his ability to create his own shot, but Josh Scott's comments at the end of the game against Gardner-Webb seem like they're happy he's kind of out of that locker room, you know? Yeah. But you can't deny it. The man is one of the best players to ever walk the hardwood of the Coors Men's Center. He's top 10 for CU in at least 10 statistical categories, including career steals, assists, rebounds, and single-game assists and points. And who can forget the array of great moments he's provided us over the years? The shot heard around the state against KU, his block on a 7-footer last year, and of course his performances in the Pac-12 and NCAA tournaments. It just shows us the reasons why he is such an enthralling player. But unfortunately, the team will be without him against Seattle University. So Tommy, tell us a little bit about that matchup on Monday.
Well, this is going to be a similar challenge to what the Buffs faced in their first round against Gardner-Webb. It's a small team with a short rotation that shoots a lot of threes. Now, the Red Hawks, they only have 2 players in the rotation that are 6'6" or taller, and that rotation only goes 8 deep. Everything Seattle does starts with its trio of guards, Isaiah Umapig, Jarrell Flora, and Emerson Murray. Now, Umapig and Flora combine to average over 30 points per game, and they shoot better than 40% from downtown. Now, the Red Hawks have no offense other than those two. Umapig and Flora combined for 44 of Seattle's 62 points in their first-round win over Pepperdine, and no one else on that team even attempted a three. Now, Emerson Murray, their third guard, he's an offensive non-entity. He attempts only 2 shots per game. He only makes 38% of them, and this is unbelievable. He turns the ball over 41% of the time that he touches it. 41%, that's literally the highest turnover rate I've ever seen, literally. Now, even if Umapig and Flora go off, Josh Scott, Wes Gordon, Torrey Miller, they should dominate inside. It's not just Seattle's lack of size. Only 5 teams in the country have blocked fewer shots than the Red Hawks. They've blocked 46 shots on the season. Now, for perspective, Wes Gordon has 47 blocks and Josh Scott has 45. So don't be surprised if the Buffs have multiple front court players with double-doubles.
Tommy Wood from CUI Sports, thanks so much for being with us today, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Always a pleasure.
The Buffs continue in the CBI, facing Seattle University next Monday at 8 p.m. Rocky Mountain time. You can watch the game via live stream. Just go to goseattleu.com/live events and find the link at the bottom of the page. Registration is necessary to view the link, but have no fear, it's free.
Should be a great game, but for all intents and purposes, the Colorado men's basketball season is pretty much over. But that doesn't mean that the history books weren't altered these past 4 years. Guard Askia Booker might be leaving the Buffs this spring, but he's certainly left his mark on the hardwood at the Coors Event Center. So in honor of ski season, one last time, we want to know, where does Askia Booker rank on Colorado's all-time scoring list? You might have already heard, but stay tuned for that answer later on in the show. Coming up after the break, we've got all your highlights from the football team's spring exhibition game.
And one Colorado team is gearing up for next season with tryouts.
Mom,
What?
can't find Ichabod.
What?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, how was your weekend? Oh, have you studied for jogging? Oh, yeah.
attention. It matters.
Starving. What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblams, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the arts!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
What'd she say?
She said whatever.
No, she says that all the time.
What's that?
Hello? I'm on the phone.
Mom, I'm on the phone!
Hello? I'm on the phone.
Who's this? It's me. I'm on the phone. Mom.
Oh, you're on the phone.
All right.
Sorry.
Sorry. Anyway.
Who are you talking to? Kelly?
Mom.
All right.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
Well, the men's basketball team is duking it out with the best teams that the bottom 100 of college basketball has to offer. The football team finished spring practice with its annual black and gold game.
Sun was out, and so were many fans hoping to get a sneak of what Coach Mack and the new look Buffs had to offer. With stakes on the line between the black and gold teams, the Buffs put on a show during the spring game. We get started with Cade Apsay, who handed off to Christian Powell for a 5-yard gain. On Sunday afternoon, he rumbled forward between the tackles during the spring game. There's Jay McIntyre, the son of Coach Mike McIntyre, and there's Christian Powell now, rolling forward for a 5-yard gain. And then again, Apsay off to Powell, again driving up the middle for another 28 yards to seal the victory for the gold team.
It was pretty impressive. Colorado, the gold team, won off a pick six from Mikella Witherspoon, but Jordan Gerke settled in after that first pass. 2 quick throws, including this floater for the touchdown. Unfortunately, gold would go on to win the coveted stakes from the spring game.
The return of football means the return of the nation's greatest mascot, Ralphie. Just like any athletic team at the University of Colorado, the Ralphie Runners spend their offseason searching high and low for new talent. Sports Mag's Jamie Henderson caught up with the runners during their spring tryouts this week.
Our Buffalo Ralphie is the pride and joy of CU school spirit. I spent the day here at Folsom to find out what it really takes to run with her on the field.
Ready, set, go!
Over 40 CU students competed for 6 spots on this year's team of Ralphie Runners. They're being timed on 100-yard sprints, but as we found out, running isn't the only requirement for being a Ralphie Runner.
Well, everyone thinks, you got to be the fastest person out there to be a Ralphie handler. Well, that's not entirely true. You do have to be fast, but you also have to be strong. You have to be good with people and good with animals. That's what we look for.
From their sprinting speeds and an application, including a personal essay, the coaching staff will narrow the candidates down to 15 people for a one-on-one interview. From there, the 6 new handlers will be selected.
1, 2, 3, go!
Although Ralphie Runners are iconic for their work on the field, great communication skills off the field are also required.
We're an extremely close-knit team, and we do so much interactions with fans and donors, and a lot of times when people come to see you, we bring Ralphie to them so they can see us. So we're really at the front end of talking with people who love CU and support CU, and so just people that are really going to take pride in that, and they're going to be respectful in that, and are really just going to love to share CU with other people.
For some of the prospects here today, their CU dream began by watching Ralphie and her handlers storming the field.
My first memory of Ralphie was on my dad's shoulders close to the corral when I was 5, and just sitting on his shoulders, clapping my hands with my jaw to the floor. It was such a great experience with "Here comes Ralphie," and it was just so cool. And I said to him, I want to be one of those guys one of these days.
Jamie Henderson, CU Sports Mag.
As we welcome in new Ralphie Runners for the fall, we also say goodbye to one of the longtime staples. Gail Peterson has held several positions in the athletic department over the last 20 years, but has overseen the Ralphie program through all of it. She announced her retirement earlier this month. Peterson will be missed by all of the handlers and has given a lot to the program. She will always be part of the Ralphie and Colorado Buffaloes family. We wish her well in her future endeavors.
It's going to be tough without Peterson. Every year, football season in college is marked by the spring game, and this year, CU started earlier than most. After a year of 0 wins in conference play, the Buffaloes have a new look, and Rachel Reynolds is in studio to answer all your burning questions in this week's edition of Buff Banter.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Rachel Reynolds here to answer all of your Twitter and Facebook questions on this week's edition of Buff Banter. The University of Colorado football team just finished their spring game last week, so that means a ton of things to be answered today. Our first question comes from Eli Langston, who asks, why hold the spring game so early in the year? It does seem pretty weird, doesn't it? Most teams usually hold their spring game in late April or early May. Pac-12 champion Oregon played theirs on May 3rd last year. But there's a method to Coach McIntyre's madness. One of his biggest reasons is about player health. Even though it is the spring game, it's still a contact sport, meaning that injuries can certainly happen. By holding the game in March, any player injury can be dealt with on a longer timetable than if the team played in April or May. That usually helps with bigger injuries such as broken bones or partially torn ligaments. We didn't see any last week, but it's always good to know. The other reason is it gives Mac and the rest of the team an early start towards next year. The buildup isn't for the spring game in May. It now builds onto next August. Players can get into the weight room and work on themselves getting physically ready for the start of the season. Our second question comes from Stephen Gobes, asking, was there anyone particularly impressive in the spring game? My answer here wants to be defensive coordinator Jim Leavitt. Leading the black team, Leavitt was enthusiastic, demonstrative, and just overall awesome. He seemed like a coach who genuinely wants to be in Boulder. And that's just what this program needs. Player-wise, running back Philip Lindsay was probably the best man on the field. He was shifty, quick, and showed that he could run between the tackles as well as outside of them. Ball security was an issue for the rising sophomore last year, but with any luck, Lindsay will protect the rock more and get more touches from an already crowded Buffalo backfield. Running back Christian Powell also looked solid, but it's also tough to tell when the teams have inter-squad scrimmages. Well, that's all the time we have for Buff Banter. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at CU Sports Mag and on Facebook to send us your questions. My name is Rachel Reynolds from CU Sports Mag. Back to you guys at the desk.
What was that, oh shit? Thanks, Rachel. Colorado football will be back in Folsom Field for its first game on September 12th. They will host the University of Massachusetts. After the break, one Buffs team took home a national championship last week. Find out who. It wasn't basketball.
No, it wasn't. And the Colorado women's lacrosse team is making waves in its second season. We've got the look from their last game coming up next.
Let's sit down for a second, okay, Smooth?
Hey, Kayla, there's Mary from your class.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Kayla. Come and play.
Oh, sweetie. Why don't you go play with those kids over there?
Why?
Imagine the power of one voice. Find yours at freedomcenter.org.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Good nutrition can lead to great things. Find out how a healthy lifestyle can help your child succeed.
The University of Colorado ski team can call itself national champions once again. Last weekend, the Buffs traveled to Lake Placid, New York to compete in the 62nd Annual Skiing Championships. This is the Colorado ski team's 20th championship. The last 8 have all come under the direction of head coach Richard Rokos. The title officially makes Rokos the most winningest coach at the University of Colorado, snapping a tie with Bill Merlot, who won 7 national skiing championships in a row between 1972 and 1978. Fresh off that national championship, it's no surprise that 2 skiers took home the honor of Athlete of the Week. Nordic skiers Maja Solbakken and Rune Oedegaard each took home an honor after their spectacular performances in the NCAA Finals. Solbakken earned 2 All-American honors, including first-team status in the 15K Classic Nordic races. Oedegaard ends his illustrious career with another NCAA title. He also holds the record for career top 3 finishes and 2 individual NCAA championships.
Congrats to our skiers, but it's officially spring in Boulder, Colorado, Brock, and that means the sun is out, and so is the CU women's lacrosse team.
Absolutely, and on St. Patrick's Day, the Buffs met the New Hampshire Wildcats in their 5th match of the season.
That's right, Brock, and after losing on the road to Northwestern last week, the Buffaloes were hoping to capture a little luck of the Irish. Well, maybe not luck of the Irish, but possibly luck of a different type. The luck of the Italians. Gianna Fusco looking to put another solid performance on in this one. She scored at least 3 goals in every game this season, but it wasn't smooth for CU early. The game started on a 3-1 UNH run by Rachel Knock on a goal there. She had 1 goal and 3 assists, but CU came back into it, made sure they played well. And of course, who else is going to be involved but Fusco, who managed to find the net despite being doubled all game. Luck of the Italians, indeed.
And from there, it just got even better for CU. It's not an Irish jig, but a couple of spin dodges from Blair Sisk, who finds the net to put Colorado up 3. Sisk finished with 2 goals and 1 assist. The Buffs hold off a late UNH push, walking away with a 10-9 victory.
The women's basketball team received a new recruit this week. Kennedy Leonard is a senior guard from Carroll High School in Lake Placid, Texas, and is the latest of head coach Linda Lappy's recruits. Leonard was named the district MVP for the 2nd straight season and received her 4th consecutive all-district first-team honor. Adding to her accolades, Leonard holds the record for most assists with 921 and is also top 3 in scoring. As a senior, Leonard led her team to a record of 27-7 while averaging just over 17 points per game. After the break, I'll get you that trivia answer that you've been scratching your head over. Don't touch that remote. Just don't you dare.
And Megan Barquette will provide some late show magic in this week's edition of Rapid Fire.
This isn't Buff Banner. It's Rapid Fire, and I'm Megan Barquette here with all your sports updates after the break.
Help wanted. Immediate openings available. For the most important jobs in America, helping the organizations that help children. Whatever you can do, in whatever time you have, you can make a difference. To learn how you can help in your community, reach us at this web address and number. We're fighting for the children. Whose side are you on?
Change. It's coming faster. Only those with high-tech skills will excel.
Power, Spear 1-1, holding short of 1-6.
I'm getting those skills now in the Air Force. It's giving me powerful tools, education, training, and experience. With Air Force skills, I can keep up with tomorrow's changes, and so can you.
Sounds like you could use some Van Gogurt. It's fortified with arch-rich nutrients to improve your math and reading skills. Catch!
Van Gogurt, thanks. So what's the deal with your ear?
Always with the ear, huh?
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
Listen well, all of you.
A wildfire
No!
can come from anywhere.
Where?
even the most unexpected places. But 9 out of 10 are caused by humans and can be prevented. Protect our friends in the forest.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Now I know what you're thinking. We're in the last block of the last show before spring break, so you just want to get out of here. I do too. Well, luckily, we have Megan Barquette in studio to give you the fastest rundown in the NCAA Rapid Fire. Take it away, Megan.
What's up, Buff fans? My name is Megan Barquette, and I'm here to give you this week's edition of Rapid Fire. Now, I only have a minute, so let's get to it. First up, we have the Colorado track and field team competing in the Jerry Queller Classic all day tomorrow here at Potts Field. It's the first of 2 meets CU will host this spring, and folks, if you plan on heading down to check out the meet, admission is free. Next up, the tennis team has a match against Oregon this Sunday in Boulder. Last time the two teams faced off, the Buffaloes took home a 5-2 win over the Ducks. Let's hope they can bring home another. Now you can also catch women's lacrosse on Sunday facing off against the Michigan Wolverines at Ann Arbor. The Buffs are looking to bring home another win on the heels of a tough win last week against New Hampshire. And finally, women's golf will be playing at the San Diego State Farms Invitational next week, March 23rd through the 25th. Guys, unfortunately, my 60 seconds are up. This has been Rapid Fire with Megan Barquette. Happy spring break, fellow Buffs, and back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you so much, Megan. Well, unfortunately, we're nearing the end of our show, but that does mean one good thing for all of you faithful viewers out there. It's time to answer that trivia question. Earlier in the show, we asked, where does Askia Booker rank in the all-time CU scoring list? And the answer is 6th. Booker recorded 1,740 points in his Colorado uniform. In his last game as a Buff, he passed Stevie Wise.
Gonna be a bit weird without Ski. March Madness, though, is always the best time to go on social media. People laugh, they cry, and they say, I told you so, when they guessed a 14 seed over a 3 for no reason. But amidst all the basketball teams, it was a football players that was easily the best tweet of the week in our books. It came from CU safety Jared Bell, who tweeted, "It's official. I've been granted my final year of eligibility from the NCAA to play again next fall. Praise God, #Go Buffs." After losing a season due to injury, Bell has been granted a 6th year with the CU, and we wish him the best of luck this coming fall. Who do you think is going to get that win, Brock? You think it's going to be Kentucky?
I kind of think Nova. Arizona is it might match up a little bit better, but really happy to hear about Jared Bell, a great guy. Obviously, he's one of the hands-down most class acts on the team.
Fantastic. It's true. I mean, I thought it was fantastic when I saw Jared Bell finally get that extra year. He's a guy, as you said, he's just a fantastic locker room presence. He's a great person to be around, and I think good things are coming for the CU football team. But back to the NCAA tournament, I kind of like what Tommy said in his CU Independent article. He would need 400 words to write about it, but instead he needed 4. What was it? No one is beating Kentucky, I think was the word like that. It's true, though. I mean, UK is just that good. I could not see a team beating them at all until Duke. And that was the one thing. Oh, God. If we get Kentucky Duke. Oh, my God. Well, that is all the time we have with you guys today. Enjoy your spring break. And in the words of our once whimsical weatherman, Wiley Ehrig, email your moms. I'm Andrew Hobner.
And I'm Brock Anderson. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at CU SportsMag and add us on Facebook for constant updates on all things CU athletics. Have a fun and safe spring break, Buffs fans.